Hey guys, what is up? Big Red Reviews here. We are back with Shane. And what do you think we just came back from? I've been talking about it for a couple of days.
I mean, do you want to know how I got these scars?
I know. I paper cut myself. We just came back from the fucking Joker, baby.
It was fucking awesome.
Listen, so this first little part's going to be spoiler-free. And skip to this time right here for the spoiler section. If I edit this part in, I'm sorry. Anyways, or just watch us for our personalities, and our jokes. Shane, this is the first time new video and the new setup after my table got Vietnamed.
Exploded.
Yeah. So, anyways, let's get into it. Joker. 3 things stick out to me with Joker that I can talk about without spoilers. 1, Joaquin Phoenix's performance. Everyone has been talking about it leading up to the film. Everyone's saying it's Oscar worthy. Me knowing Joaquin Phoenix and seeing his movies. Now, a lot of people our age don't know Joaquin Phoenix that much because his movies are not as well known as like Marvel movies and shit. So nobody really knows him. Same with Daniel Day-Lewis, which is unfortunate because I think Joaquin Phoenix is one of the, if not the best actor of our time right now. Just little things he does, and this movie utilizes him in a good way because it keeps the camera on him for a long period of time and lets him do his thing with his freakouts, with his whatever makeup. And this is like one of the first times I've seen him on screen, like in a theater. This is my first time, and it's one of the first times that I've been encapsulated by his performance. My jaw was dropped probably the whole movie while I just watched him do his magic and do everything that makes Joaquin great. And
it was truly one of the best movies I've ever seen. I would put it up there with Endgame, but it was a different type of movie. It wasn't. It makes you kind of take the side of the Joker, which you normally never do.
That's getting a lot of controversy right now.
Yeah, it's getting a lot of controversy.
You want to get on the controversy side?
But it was just so amazing the way that Todd Phillips and Joaquin Phoenix were together to make
and
this
everyone
character
else
happen. Oh yeah,
and the cinematographer, all that. The thing about the Endgame is obviously I like Endgame because I would say Joker's my #1 movie of the year, and there's even a part of me that wants to say that. The thing about Endgame is you can't really compare Joker and Endgame. Joker is a character study. Endgame kind of is like that, not nearly to the extent of this movie.
Absolutely not.
It's just wrapping everything up, and the reason why I love it is just fan fulfillment and just little things we've been waiting to see. And it's like, I'm a big Marvel nerd, obviously, so that's why I like that movie better. But this movie, Joker's one of my favorite villains, if not my favorite villain of all time, and I'm a big Marvel guy.
From the DC universe.
Now, I don't want people to start thinking that I'm only a Marvel guy. I'm not one of those Marvel guys. I love DC. Don't get me wrong. Like, even some of the DCU movies I love. The Nolan trilogy is probably one of the best. Dark Knight's I'm gonna say right now the best superhero movie of all time. I don't care.
Yeah.
Even compared to Endgame, Dark Knight there's nothing wrong with it. And this movie, does Joaquin Phoenix live up to Heath Ledger? I think so. People are going into this movie instantly comparing him to Heath Ledger. He wants to respect Heath Ledger, but this is a different type of Joker. This is a man becoming the Joker.
This is a pre-Batman Joker.
Exactly, and so you don't have the Batman influence on the Joker, which is they pulled it off because Joker without Batman is like peanut butter without jelly. So it's really weird, but they pulled it off brilliantly.
But I do love a good peanut butter sandwich, not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's all right. But this Joaquin Phoenix carries this movie, and that's not saying it's bad. And there's some very big twists in this movie that I did not expect that we will get to in the spoiler section, which kept you entranced in the movie. But the way I look at it is this: you care for Arthur Fleck. You don't care for the Joker, if that makes sense. Like, you feel bad for Arthur Fleck, but once he starts doing stuff as the Joker, like murdering certain people, then you start not caring about the Joker, and you still kind of feel bad for Arthur Fleck, but you're not watching Arthur Fleck, you're watching him. And you see that in the trailer. Now, he's going up the stairs, he's all groggy in the beginning, and then when he becomes the Joker, he's dancing, he's free, he doesn't care what he's doing. It's just insane. But, okay, next thing is the cinematography. A lot of superhero movies nowadays don't really have good cinematography. Like, they have cinematography, but it's not like Quentin Tarantino level or, M. Night Shyamalan one take. It's not like that. But this one, I don't know his name. I'm very sorry, but the cinematography with the shot selections, the long takes, and the color palette, and just everything like that was amazing.
I just think, like, when you put a camera on somebody's face so close for so long, sometimes with some actors you can start to see a little flaws in their character. Not him, but not.
See, Todd Phillips. They even said they wrote this character for Joaquin. Todd Phillips knows that if you're lucky enough to get Joaquin in your movie, you have to utilize every inch of his acting skills, and so that's why they left it on him for close-ups for as long periods of time because they knew that it wouldn't get dragged out at all. It would always be unique. Look at the Master, for example. When he has a freak out, they just point the camera at him and keep it on and let him do his thing. He just goes into this mode. Same with this one. And the third thing is the score. You know how I love scores. I always talk about scores. My favorite score of all time, personally, is Man of Steel. Interstellar is very close, and Star Wars and all that. I don't know. Man of Steel. Anyways, this one is the theme in this one is basically like how Glass was in the movie Glass. They had that ticking noise that constantly played throughout the movie, and my favorite scene in the movie is when he's meeting the Beast in the wheelchair, and the ticking in the background. So the ticking makes that movie, and this score always playing with the Joker and Arthur Fleck, and it just really encapsulates the movie. But then there's also scenes without music in it, and it's very tense moments that we'll get to in the spoiler section where there's no music, it's just Joaquin, and that makes it better. A lot of directors need to learn how to not use music in their movies at certain points.
But I do like how the music in the score in the movie, it intensifies as the plot thickens.
Yeah, it gets bigger and bigger. It's just, and sometimes it's simpler. Like, it's not like a over the top score. It's simple, just like how the Dark Knight's score for Joker was just two notes. It just dragged out. That's all his score was, and it's one of the most iconic scores of all time.
Like, I like scores that are subtle, but if you didn't have one, then you would notice. Like, during Endgame, the score for the main battle scene, you could hear it, and it was prevalent. But when Tony Stark died, there was none.
That's why I'm glad they did that, and like a lot of movies are starting to learn now when to use music and when to not use music. Now the next thing they need to learn is when to not use jokes. Like, you have a serious moment and you do a joke, which Endgame and Infinity War kind of got, because there's a lot of times in Infinity War and Endgame I was expecting a joke at the end of this, and sometimes there were, but most of all no. But anyways, back to Joker. We're gonna get into spoiler territory now, so do not
spoilers
going past this point, or if you don't give a fuck
now.
If you're not thinking about seeing this movie, I highly suggest it. Even if you hate superhero movies, it's not a superhero movie. It's a character study, and the clown doesn't come out of nowhere. The clown part, the Joker part, doesn't come out of nowhere, and it fits a reality-based story really well, and you don't have to love superhero movies to go see it. It's more like Taxi Driver or stuff like that, character studies, basically. So, spoiler talks, The Laugh. Now, The Laugh, we know that he Joaquin Phoenix interviewed people who have this uncontrollable laugh, but the way they do it in this movie, there's this YouTuber I watched, Chris something, I forgot his name, Chris, I don't know, he's a movie reviewer, and he talked about how he loves the aspect, and I have to agree with him. I love the aspect of how when he laughs, it almost hurts himself, and he's always grasping, he's always coughing, he's grasping for his neck, and I love that because whenever he gets happy, almost he gets pain, and he's just never happy.
I do like, him interviewing the people with this condition shows that he actually cares about the role, and he wants it to do well.
Well, most actors do that, but he just took it to a whole nother, like, he specialized in it, and just his whole story from, you start feeling bad for this guy, and he even has a card that he gives the lady that says like, oh, it's a condition.
Please excuse my laughing. A brain condition.
Feel really bad for him. Like, no one in the city seems nice. Let's get about the first plot twist, which is Thomas Wayne is the Joker's dad. Now, me and him were freaking out.
I was like, whoa.
It actually ended up being fake. Then you find out that, so there's basically 3 twists in this movie, and one of them aren't real. You actually find out that he's adopted, and his mom is actually like kind of psycho.
And neglecting,
and he basically got abused by the boyfriend, and she didn't do anything. You find that out. And the second big twist is Zazie Beetz' character. Throughout the whole movie, you see her supporting him, and the whole time you're like, what the fuck? Like, it doesn't seem natural at all. So then you eventually find out that she was never there. He walks into her apartment one night, and she doesn't know who he is. So you found out that was just him hallucinating and trying to make him happy. And that blew me away. I didn't expect that at all. Wow. I did not expect that at all. The violence. This movie's getting a lot of flack for violence in the media. You know how media people are.
Yeah.
Deadpool was more violent than this movie. Okay.
Well, yeah, but
Deadpool was more violent in this movie. The only maybe like 3 people die. 3 people die. Deadpool, you have his arms chopped off. You have him doming people. Like, you have him shooting himself.
More people die, but I just think people are getting mad about this movie because it's the same amount of gore or violence, but they're adding a tone that's real.
And people hate facing. People. That's perfect.
Yeah.
People nowadays hate facing reality. So when stuff calls out real world issues, they just get offended and act like the movie is the reason those real world issues are happening. When that's not the case, they're just calling these real. Now, I personally think, like I told him in the car, I think 98% of people, even 99% of people, are like us. You know, they can't.
We appreciate a movie for the movie, but we know the difference between movie and reality.
Exactly, and I think the 1% of people, like Todd Phillips said, the director of Joker, he even said like. Now, we're not going to talk about far left and right in this video, but he said, like, the far left, like, the people who are complaining are mainly far left, and they just seem to be wanting to put themselves in the equation. And it's really an argument that's not even really there. The whole thing about police officers and people being there was a police officer at our theater. I was getting popcorn. I looked. I was like, fuck, like, what if I go to pull my phone out and I get boomed? But it's like I think the media is the reason why this started. The media keeps putting, I told him this when we walked in the theater, the media keeps saying like, well, what if this happens because of the Joker? Or what if this happens at the premiere? And I get they're scared because of what happened at Dark Knight Rises. You know, nothing like that should happen. You shouldn't be scared to go to a movie theater. Unfortunately, I get like that even. I hide it really well, but like anytime I go to a major release, like Force Awakens I was terrified at, Endgame and Infinity War, the opening night I was terrified at because I'm always scared something's going to happen. You never know what, and it should not be like that.
Because of a couple of times of it happening, people will get scared.
You can't blame them though. I mean, you can't blame them though.
Right? I can't blame you for having
I'm going to see The Dark Knight Rises. You shouldn't think of anything supposed to happen to you, especially 20 minutes from your home. But we're getting kind of off topic.
I'm just saying, post 9/11, very early post 9/11, people were scared to fly.
I don't blame them.
Right.
I would fucking walk.
People were scared to fly. People didn't want to leave anywhere. They didn't want to go anywhere because they thought that terrorists were just going to come and kill them all.
I don't blame them.
I wouldn't blame them either, but people still do it. People still ride planes. People still go to movie theaters.
Now, yeah, it just takes a little bit.
It just takes a little bit of time for people to
nowadays.
Get back to where
I feel like more than ever, besides after 9/11, people are scared, and this movie just mainly shows how society affects individual people, and it's reality, and people hate reality. So, yeah, I'm really glad this movie had the balls to do what it did. There's some my favorite two scenes. One of them is in the trailer where he's laughing at a joke, he turns the corner, and he just goes straight to like silent, and I love that part. The other part is at the end. So basically, So if you've read The Killing Joke, you kind of figured where the talk show part was going to come into. He basically domes the shot. Now in the comics, he kills everyone in the place. In the movie, he just kills Murray. And then he's in a police car, and then he gets escaped, and he's standing on the car, and everyone's looking at him like a god. And he basically
starts dancing, and
he puts the blood on his, and it was a really...
he realized he was bleeding from the mouth, so he just takes the blood and just...
Smile, and it was a really good callback to...
It was amazing.
Heath Ledger, and it just really... That was a really capturing scene. Now, there's theories going around, I was reading, that none of that stuff ever happened, and he was just at the end of the movie, he was just in the psych ward. It happened.
Sure.
Now the Thomas Wayne thing. I was
gonna ask you to talk about that. But.
So the kid was Bruce Wayne. We kind of figured he was. Thomas Wayne is basically the mayor of this city, and
he's campaigning
to be the mayor.
Yeah.
And basically at the end, they're leaving the theater.
Continuity.
The minute they left the theater, I knew.
Yeah.
They walk into the alleyway. He gets shot. Martha gets shot. You see the iconic pearls, and Bruce is there. And in that little world, we're never going to see it, but it sets up the Batman in a way. And it kind of sets up the Joker, the future Joker, because now there's this whole thing of clowns and people saying fuck the system so they could easily... If they ever decided to make a movie in this universe, which I kind of hope they don't...
That would be amazing.
It just... No, because then they'll start tarnishing.
Off topic. We need to recognize that there is a continuity between all the other movies in this because of the murder and the pearls and everything. But the only discontinuity that there was that in the original there was the guy that murdered them was trying to mug them, right?
Yeah.
This one, it was straight up
murder.
Thomas Wayne, you need to die.
But it
you
worked.
Get what you deserve.
But it worked.
It worked
perfectly.
So awesome.
And I kind of like the idea that this is like the first Joker and he caused their death, and then there's gonna be a younger Joker that somehow lives up in this world of people who are in that rebellion, and then he fights that younger Bruce Wayne. Like, I kind of like that idea. There was all these rumors going around that this Joker's the dad of Heath Ledger's Joker. I'm glad that's not the case, But I mean, it would have worked low key.
Worked
but this movie was so good. Just everything. Like it was. People were saying it's a slow burn. I was never bored at a minute because of Joaquin Phoenix. The scenes where he's just in the apartment doing his thing, low key going crazy. They're starting to dance. I was encaptured at what this man was doing, and I was never bored at all. Now, unfortunately, most of my friends will probably end up getting bored at those scenes because they want. Because I think a lot of kids, at least our age, I don't want to act like that kid.
Like
I don't want to act like that kid that's like, we're not really kids, but that thinks they're above all other kids and older, which I'm not. But I think it's very clear that a lot of kids nowadays are spoiled by Endgame and stuff, which is true. I mean, Avengers movies like that, they capture you. But these slow burn movies, I think, are just as important, if not more, because of what they do for cinema and just the different things they do. And I really hope Joaquin Phoenix wins an Oscar. He's been snubbed 3 times. I think he fully deserves it for this. If Heath Ledger, I think, because he was really close to Heath Ledger and he said he wanted to honor it. I think he honored it perfectly.
Oh yeah, he did.
And the one thing the only thing I wish we saw him in the makeup longer, but he was in the makeup probably the final 20-30 minutes of the movie.
The full get up.
But it didn't really bother me at all. And yeah, that's basically our review of Joker.
Can we talk about the metaphors really quick? I noticed some metaphors.
Say them.
All right, the staircase, obviously.
The
staircase in the alley.
With him going up it, all grudging.
Going up is him trying to fight his sanity, right? And him finally coming down and dancing on the steps. And coming all the way down. I think that's him completely losing his mind.
His posture was another one.
Oh, yeah.
Because in the beginning of the movie, he's walking, he's limping, and once he becomes the Joker, he starts dancing and
confidence.
Being confidence. He goes and kisses that girl, even if it's not real. He kisses her.
It was in the mind, but
yeah. And then his mom, all that stuff.
Oh my god, he fucking murdered his mom.
He murders his. So when we mentioned earlier about the no music scene, that was the scene we were talking about. His mom's like almost dead, basically.
She had a stroke when he was away,
and he finds out that she adopted him. She never told him, and then he was abused by her, and he ends up suffocating her in the pillow, which probably some people out there probably are rooting for that.
And one of the top lines of the movie is like, "I realize my life is not
fuck, what does he say? It's not a tragedy. It's a fucking comedy.
It's a fucking comedy, and he takes the pillow and he puts it over her.
That shit was crazy.
Oh my god!
But there's so many great lines in this movie. Just he makes you uneasy, but it's like it's almost like how Michael Scott is in public. Like he says shit you really shouldn't, but you just are glued to him because it's fucking
hilarious.
The performance is hilarious, but then you have the opposite, which is like him being weirded out and all that. And yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing to feel bad for him, okay? People were saying that if you feel bad for him, you're a psychopath. I don't think that's the case at all. It's really easy to feel bad for him. Now, once he shoots Murray and suffocates his mom and all that, then, you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he's a
like I said, when he becomes the Joker. But the whole first probably half of the movie, you feel terrible for this guy. And the thing about... So when he gets mugged by those... He gets, like, beat up by those guys on the train.
He gets beat up twice. Once by kids, and then the second time...
Yeah, the kids, and then he gets the second time... Yeah, these 3 guys, and then he ends up shooting them and killing them, and I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that because I don't want to sound controversial. I think it was self-defense personally.
The first one was self-defense. He shot the dude because he was getting beat up.
So basically,
he
the 3
shot
kids,
the other dude in the chest, and then the other guy was running away, and he shot him in the back.
Well, the guy was already shot.
Yeah, but he finished him off. Yeah.
And I don't know. Part of that's he's still weird, but you could see how it's self-defense in that case. The other ones, no, but.
Oh, yeah.
All right, guys, this is already a longer review than usual.
Oh, yeah.
My final rating, we're going to start giving ratings on our movies. I found out we really didn't do that. I'm going to give it a 9.5. It could easily be a 10. Maybe
10.
I think it's you're going to give it a 10. I'll give it a 10 if you give it a 10. I wasn't going to give it a 10.
It's a 10.
I wasn't going to give it a 10 only because I don't want people to think like, "Oh, it's perfect." It is perfect. Fuck you. 10. Boom.
It's 10.
10. Boom. 10 here. We won't really give much of those out. I think Endgame was like a
I'll give it a 9.5.
9.8. There was like one little thing, little couple things.
Just a couple little things,
but this movie, for what it was, the fact that it captured me on screen, I think it's a 10. It lived up to the Joker, and 10, 20.
He did Heath Ledger great.
He did have Heath Ledger great, and if you came up to me and told me that you like him better than Heath Ledger, I would not blame you. I mean, I know you know, he thinks Heath Ledger's better. I think Heath Ledger's better, but I think Joaquin is like fucking right. Like, if you tell me that Joaquin is better than Heath Ledger, I would not blame you whatsoever. Honestly,
I think Heath Ledger is what the Joker was meant to be, but Joaquin did an amazing
so like the
job.
thing about the Jokers is each Joker we get is a different kind of Joker. Jared Leto's was like Jared Leto's was
sorry.
See, a part of me, I fucking hate Jared Leto's Joker, but he wasn't. But like, there was only 3 minutes, and that movie was ass.
Fucking hand tattoo. Fuck.
That's from the comics. It's like a mobster Joker.
Fuck
then you have
that.
Heath Ledger's, who we don't really know the backstory at all, but you know him. This one, you get why he becomes a Joker, and like I said, if you came up to me and told me that he's better than Heath Ledger, it's not like I'm gonna fight you on that. I could understand. You know, I can understand where you're coming from, and either way, him and Heath Ledger and Mark Hamill are the best Jokers. And then Jack Nicholson, and then Ramiro, whatever his name is, and then Jared Leto. But, yeah, let us know what you guys think down below. Once you guys go see it, message me. I love talking about this movie, even more than Endgame, honestly, in some points. This movie is just a different type of movie. But, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll have more videos out for you guys, and